All right, hello everyone. I'm Mario, and we're here with Jake and Ramon playing our last highlight for the Guildhall games. So today we have Arclyte. So do you want to talk to us about Arclyte?
Yeah, so Arclyte's a projectile firing kind of tower defense style game for tablet. So all the TGP games are for tablet, but it's inspired actually by the last game we played. So it's inspired by Dark Souls aesthetically, and it's supposed to be challenging for people who are like console games but want to have something to play on the go tablet. So it's been pretty great making it. So we're excited to show it off.
Awesome. So I heard earlier that you got some inspiration from some interesting games.
Yeah. So actually, the way we pitched the game was as a combination of Dark Souls and Angry Birds. So we had like a funny picture of like photoshopping the Angry Birds onto Dark Souls, screenshots, and that was fun. But over time, we kind of got also inspired a little bit by Chinese mythology. So our artist is from China, and he's really into traditional Chinese mythology. So we have kind of a mixture of Western and Eastern kind of fantastical.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you're a level designer.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
So what were some of the challenges that you guys had when creating levels for this game?
The biggest one was difficulty. So we wanted it to be a really hard game. Something that not really hard, but something that there's meat to it. There's strategy. It's like it's stimulating. It's not just something you just put the button and you win. But at first we may have gone a little bit too far, and even our professors who worked in video games for years could not beat the game. We were the only ones who could beat it. So yeah, that was really challenging to figure out. And before that, it had been too easy. So it was a long process trying to figure out what's fair, what's not fair, what's hard, and what's easy. So we finally got it figured out. We hope. But
awesome. So can you talk more about the art style of the game and how you guys got to that point?
Yeah, so originally we did pitch it as being Western fantasy and inspired by Dark Souls, and it has this same dark aesthetic and it has a lot of the medieval fantasy elements. But as we were going on, our artist was giving us concepts, and they were really, really interesting, especially for the setting. And he basically told us about, in China there's this mountain, it's called Ming, and it's basically on top of the mountain there's a city that is modeled after traditional Chinese ideas of hell. So it's made to look like it's hell.
Yeah. And
he thought it'd be a great place to set our game, and it'd be such a more interesting setting than just castles and knights, and it's something that's actually quite common, especially in mobile games. So we thought it was great, and we started going with it, and it actually turned out really, really well. To have that kind of mix, it's a little bit different than what else you see. So
yeah. So is this y'all's first game making this?
Yeah. So none of us have worked professionally making games. I think almost everybody has made some stuff personally, but this is our first, I guess, official game, professional style game. So
awesome. How was y'all's experience making your first game?
I think it was really good, actually. Our team worked really well together. We really got along. There were some challenges, but I think we've actually managed to keep pretty organized. I think it was really, really fun, and I'm really excited to move on to our next project, and hopefully I'll get to work at least with a couple of people from our team. So it's really nice. So
where does the name come from, Arclyte?
So it's kind of a pun because one of the projectiles is a fireball. I don't know if he probably is already using it. So it arcs, and originally the theme was that the main character would be like a warrior of light, I guess, and so we called it Arclyte. But I think it actually works with the new theme and everything, and we discovered eventually that there's some League of Legends skins that are called Arclyte,
really?
Which was not-intentional, but I think it kind of matches with it. It gives you a sense of what the game is. It's going to be arcing projectiles, so that's.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit more about what your experience has been here at Guildhall, and what you can tell people that might be interested in coming to Guildhall or just game development overall?
I think it's been a really great experience. It's a lot of work, but I think it's good work. It kind of gives you a sense. I made a lot of personal projects before, but because I was doing another job and they're on the side, it was a lot more casual, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I really feel like over time I've gotten a lot better sense of what goes into actually making a game, and I have a lot more appreciation for games in general. So it's been really great, and I appreciate because I'm a level designer, so I get to do both a little bit of the art side and a little bit of the programming, and actually I have a computer science background, so
you have all three in one package.
Yeah, so it's been really interesting because I always get bored if I'm just doing programming for a long time. If I'm doing I was an English major as well, so English, any creative field like that for a long time, so it's nice to mix them, and that's why I personally think I love design. It's great. I really enjoy doing it.
That's awesome. How many people are in your team, and what departments are they on?
So we have 4 people on our team. Raymond over there is our programmer, and I'm a level designer, as we said before. Jeremy is not here today, and he's a level designer as well. He's actually the assistant game designer as well. And then we have Jang, our artist. So he's responsible for all the beautiful art you're probably seeing right now. So
awesome. How many weeks did you guys take to create this game?
So we kind of started last, we call them mods. I don't know if you guys talked about that, but it's basically the beginning of the semester. Essentially, we started a couple months in. Yeah, I'd say about in August. We did some small stuff like prototyping and kind of figuring out what our game was, but we only really were producing it for maybe 4 or 5 weeks.
Wow.
I'd say, because once the second half of the semester started, we got right into production, and we finished basically making the game about a week and a half ago. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So you talked a little bit more about understanding now game development when creating your first game.
Yeah.
So when you play games now, do you see those games a little different?
Yeah, no, I see you can see the seams kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, in a good way though. It's you couldn't have done that unless you had this seam, or literally sometimes in the art. But
Yeah.
that's not a good thing. But usually that's a bad sign if you can see the seams in the art. But you'll see here's how they're filtering me into making sure they can tell the story by gently herding me. Oh, here's how they're leading me on this path to the most interesting stuff. Here's how they're giving me hints. So it's really interesting, and you have a lot of appreciation. That must have taken a lot of time to. For instance, I was playing Dark Souls, and I saw level designer. Dark Souls has great level design. It's one of my favorite games, but I was able to really appreciate how in the first Dark Souls, how much time they must have spent making sure it flowed naturally and interconnected with each other. I mean, it's crazy. So it really deepened my appreciation of how awesome that game was.
Cool. So we have a question here. So what advice would you give aspiring game developers?
Well, I would say that first of all, it's important that you actually fail faster, and part of that means you should start making games. I mean, there's a lot of free tools. Unity, you can get the free version. You can get Game Maker. You can get other tools like that for free, and it's really a great idea to just get them and start making stuff. And who cares if it's not the best? That way you can learn, and the more games you make and the faster you fail, I guess, the better you'll get faster. And then you can, apply to a program like this or something.
Yeah.
So,
awesome. Well, thank you for showing us Arclyte and
Thank
for
you very much
your
for having
advice. Just a reminder, we do have our donation link down below. So please donate. Any amount is awesome. Any amount, we welcome it. You can go all the way to the bottom, click Other, and donate as much as you want. But now we're going to pass it on to the other side, and we're going to be playing Rocket League. So get excited.